Namaste. How are you? Let us close your eyes and recite with me. Asato ma sat gamaya. Asato ma sat gamaya. Asato ma Satgamaya. It simply means lead me. We're asking the existence to lead me from false to the truth. Lead me, existence, so that existence works in us through the intellect. And intellect is nothing but the knowledge. So I should know what is false and what is truth. So it means that existence helps me to move to the truth. And the truth is my real self, permanent peace, happiness, love, and peace. Asato ma satgamaya. Replace this thought anytime in your life or at every moment in your life when the mind takes us somewhere else. You know what I mean. Mind takes you to the anxiety, stress, duality, conflict, fear, insecurities. Return. Through the intellect, ask the mind, why don't you return here first? And the another line is also more important. Let us do it. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. One more time. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. It simply means lead me from ignorance, delusion, attachment, detachment, craziness of the mind to wisdom, to wisdom of the real self, wisdom of my own life. What is that wisdom? I am a human being and I must enter into permanent peace, happiness. I use the word must. Means I should be inspired, motivated. Let us go to the third line. Mrityorama amritangamaya. Mrityorama amritangamaya. You're also saying it. Mrityorama amritangamaya. Mrityorama amritangamaya. Lead us from mortality to immortality. What a big statement. We all have a fear of death. We all have insecurities in our life from one thing or the other. But we don't realize whatever is changing, what is subjected to change, has a birth and death. And then what does it mean? Lead us from death to immortality. What that means? That there is something within all of us that is not subjected to change, that is not dependent, that is our real self. That is the journey of the Eastern wisdom. Lead us from false to the truth. Asato ma sat gamaya. Lead us from ignorance to knowledge, wisdom, reality. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Lead us from mortality to immortality, from fear, insecurities to Mrityoramamritangamaya. Mrityorama amritangamaya. My friend, according to Eastern wisdom, according to science also, there are couple of millions, maybe around 2 million living species on the Earth planet. According to Eastern wisdom, the number is 8.4 million species on this earth, including plants, animals, mammals, birds, reptiles. Add one more, we human beings also. We are using these three principles: lead us from false to the truth, lead us from ignorance to wisdom, lead us from mortality to immortality. We are starting a wonderful series of understanding the journey of the life. Why? We are going deeper. So 8.4 million species, says the Eastern wisdom, millions of creatures. What do we see outside, from outside? Shape, size, color, form, certain traits vary from one living being to the other. You already have lot of pets. Have you ever thought that let me compare? Why to compare? To become clear. Look at the lizard, the dog, the cat, the birds, how they are different. They look different from outside in terms of their shape, size, color, activities, food habits. But there is one thing that is similar. And it is not very difficult to find out the very life is similar. But Eastern wisdom says if you go behind that life, from where this life manifests is sin. They don't have a choice. We have a choice. Because I know, for example, the lizard, I know it's a lizard. So I know the behavior of the lizard. So I also know how to make a choice to be with the lizard. Then I know how to control my behavior to be safe, to be loving. Have you ever thought like this? Why you have to think like this? To help you raise your awareness. We are also one of the 8.4 million species. We have a body, we have a life, we have a mind, we have an intellect. Lizard, dog, pet, they cannot. They may have some sense of attachment, but they don't know too much. If they know me and you too much, they can take over us. So now find out what is common in all living beings. Life is common. Body is common. All living species have body. They may have different shape, size, color. That's a different thing, but they have a body. So when there is a life, there is a body. The existence, just say it, existence has put in all the living species, which you may say instinct, habit, uh, for action or for activities, including us. We understand it clearly. The animals, these living species, are programmed, automated, controlled by the unconscious operation of the nature. We understand it clearly. Do I want to survive? And the answer is big yes. Because I want to survive, I am existence. Do I know it? No. So when I discover it, I follow the path of Eastern wisdom. Now, as do all these living species want to survive? The answer is big yes. So the common thing is deeper inside, but difference is I know I want to survive. They know it unconsciously, we know it consciously. How do they know unconsciously? You touch an ant, small creature, they change their path. Why? They want to survive. Show a stick to the dog. So, two elements are there. One, they want to survive, and second is they run away from you because of survival is linked to security, safety. That is what happens because we do not know and we do not understand. So we have insecurity, we have fear. One thing is sure, these animals cannot understand. Why? Everything is unconscious. They may be more intelligent than us, Are you getting it? We are understanding the journey of the life. You have to raise your awareness around yourself in the world. Why? To raising your awareness will help us to go to the knowledge, to the understanding, to the clarity. And that clarity, what we did? Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Lead us from ignorance to wisdom. Fear and the security is unknown to the animals. They do it automatic action. That is what I'm saying. Try to understand that. But we know, we can know. There is no fear of the unknown in us. No, there is always a fear of unknown in us. There is no fear of known. We both know each other. We understand it. I believe you are getting it. So you see the common, still little different from all the living species. We all eat food, all the living species. Buffaloes and the cow, pure veggie. Tiger and the lion, pure non-veggie. Birds and the reptiles. And there are carnivorous, herbivorous. What is common? Food. First thing. What is common? Can the tiger choose to eat grass? No, unconscious operation. Can I choose? Yes. And that choice comes from the intellect, which is independent in us, that is dependent, programmed, automated, controlled in animals. So, did you understand the common point and different? That is why we can evolve, we can rise in consciousness, we can find, we can discover permanent peace and happiness. That is why we say animal instincts. We do have. So either we are carried away by this animal instinct, then I become a two-legged animal. The mind continues to regulate my behavior based on unconsciousness, my habit. And that habit also includes fear, unnecessary fear, insecurities, anxiety, duality, conflict. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Do you still remember the meaning? Lead us from ignorance to wisdom. What will happen then? Knowledge will tell me what is real and what is false. So I will drop the false. I will stay and centered in the truth, the real. Result is Mrityorama Amritangamaya. Result? Freedom from the fear and the insecurities, from the anxieties. That is the goal of the Eastern wisdom. Now we are learning very, very what is very close to us. What do we need to become aware, to raise your awareness? So we covered the food and safety and sleep. Sleep is common. I was looking at the Discovery Channel. The lion had a kill with his family and a buffalo, and they continued eating. I was told, I saw it, and the commentator, the anchor, was saying that a lion can eat about 50 kilogram, 50 kilogram, more than, I would say, 100 pound at one time. And after that, they sleep. Sleep is common in all the living species. We can regulate the sleep. They cannot. And can you recall the fourth characteristic or animal instinct? What to say? Reproduction. They have a particular season for the sex. Goal is reproduction. Continue the generation. We human beings have regulated this sex, sexual pleasure, reproduction, control of that reproduction, distortion, delusion. In a way, we are lucky to see that what exactly is the purpose of reproduction. But then there is a distortion. Why? Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya lead us from ignorance, wrong notion, delusion to knowledge. We have an ability. Whether we use that ability or not, the intellect is always available with us, which can observe, make a choice, and hold on to that choice. The life becomes totally different. Think of it. Start living into that awareness. Human being can use the intellect to discover the real self. Why animals do not change their habit, or it takes them millions of years to change their habit. Automated, programmed. Why we can change? Intellect. Knowledge is there. If we put the right knowledge in the intellect, it can change the behavior of the mind. We have a choice. Either to continue living like other living species or rise above. I gave an example with reference to reproduction or sex. Same thing with the food. Same thing with the safety or security and sleep. You consciously understand, regulate these four instincts, or whosoever regulate these four instincts is known as a human being. In Eastern wisdom, simply walking on two legs with the two hands does not make us a human being. So we have seen that how these four instincts are common in human being and other living species. So let us look closely how the body of all the living beings are made. That is a very common factor. I need water to survive, every living being. I need matter to have a body, every living being. What does it mean by matter? Matter means carbohydrate, protein, minerals, etc., etc. Similar, same. They all need the same element in different proportion. I also need the same elements here: water, air, fire, space. And from the modern science, you can take carbs, protein, etc., etc. We all living species need them in different proportion, in different quantity, in different quality. Common. Then what is the difference? With this human body, our intellect is highly developed, the mind is highly developed. I can make a choice with the same body containing the same matter in a different quantity. That is the only difference. We live with a higher level of self awareness, unlike all the living species. Asato ma satgamaya. So, if I live at a higher level of self awareness using my intellect, then only I know what is false and what is truth. Otherwise, we remain at the intellectual level. There is always a gap between the knowledge and the behavior. Behavior comes from the mind, we have just explained. Knowledge in the intellect. To bridge this gap, Asatuma Satgamaya. Lead us from false to the truth. Whom I'm asking existence. So existence works in me through the intellect. If I allow the intellect to be available all the time, we make it available sometime, not all the time. You may ask, how do you say that? Your son knocks the door. You open the door. You welcome him and hug him. Come on, I'm taking a breakfast. Can you join me? One option. Son knocks the door. You open the door. The mind goes to the past memories and the bitter experiences. Come on, son, what makes you come here? Where's the problem? You don't even invite him to difference. The mind is carried away by the past impression, dictated behavior part. I did not put the knowledge part. So then the mind makes me anxious, reactive, agitated. Why? Because of the past impression. What I'm doing? Am I a human being? normally ask in a group session, am I a human being? So when we fall in consciousness, there is an opposite movement in our life. We don't use the intellect, even when the intellect is available. We don't live at a higher level of self awareness to assess, to understand with a clarity. Then there is an opposite movement. What is that movement? Did I say that? Asato ma satgamaya. What it means, lead us from false to the truth. So, what is the opposite movement? Existence is there, real self is there, peace is there, happiness is there. At this moment, the moment I started interacting with anyone, I reversed that movement. I started moving from the real self to the not real self, truth to the false. Do you see that? Moving from the truth to the false. Anxiety, fear, insecurity, duality, conflict, problems, sorrow, suffering. I can give you a long list. Even when the intellect is available, even when I'm a human being. Now is the time you have already understood that the mind makes me crazy. I will make the mind crazy. I will work on the mind. And also understand the second line. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Lead us from ignorance to wisdom. Now, because intellect is available, I'm not using it. I am a human being. I'm self aware. Mind is dictating over the intellect. It brings my awareness down. So there is a reverse movement. I start moving from the wisdom, which is already present, available, to ignorance, that is delusion, wrong notion. How dare you have come to me? What makes you there? I'm always stressed when you meet me. Moving from wisdom. Where? In me. How? In the intellect, through the existence. What I'm doing still, I say intellect, you live in the background. Let the mind do, act, think the way it is doing. That is what is happening to the animal mind. That is why we say it is an animal mind. My friend, reverse third movement. So remember the two opposite movement. I start living my life moving from the truth to the false. I fall in consciousness. I do not rise in consciousness. From the wisdom to the ignorance, I fall in consciousness, do not rise in consciousness. The moment we fall in our consciousness, what animals are doing, we start doing. That is the third line. So first see the right. Mrityurama amritangamaya, lead us from fear, insecurities, death to immortality, to freedom, fearlessness. My mind makes the reverse movement. From that freedom to fear, insecurities, etc. etc. I believe you have understood fall and rise in consciousness. Animals, doesn't make any difference. You touch those animals, play with them, act with them, they're still living at the same level. Only we have fallen the rise in consciousness. They are acting mechanically. You can control some of their behaviors, but still, they cannot become free from these four instincts. When the mind continues to live in that awareness and the intellect is not being used, that is always available, is the source of all the problems and the worries and the sorrow and the suffering. Now ask a simple question: why we should know all these things? Why we should know? Huh? Today I discussed the topic of animals, 8.4 living species, million species on the earth, and the animal instincts and programmed and auto. Why? Knowledge is power. And the power is the capacity to do the things rightly and properly, free from delusion, wrong notion, attachment, and detachment. That is why we want to know. Do you love knowledge? See the simple thing. Just become aware. Your daughter comes, hey, he was talking about you. What is your next question? What he was talking. You are curious to know what it means. You love knowledge. Do you love knowledge? Yes. Knowledge is my nature. Let me know it. Let me make knowledge power in my life to discover the real nature. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Moving from ignorance to wisdom. Our masters in three lines summarize the entire life. Don't forget. Asato ma satgamaya. Lead us from false to the truth. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Lead us from ignorance to wisdom. Mrityorama amritangamaya. Lead us from fear, uncertainty, insecurities to immortality, permanent peace and happiness. So, knowledge is power. The power is a capacity to do the things rightly and properly, free from delusion, wrong notions, attachment, and detachment. So, knowledge in Eastern wisdom is that power which removes the wrong notion, delusion, fear, insecurity, suffering. And the same knowledge leads us to my real self, permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. We share five elements: water, earth, uh, space, fire, with all the animals, plants, living species. We share these, they are common elements, and we share together. Part of the existence. Do you see the intelligence of the entire existence using the same elements in different proportion, creating 8.4 living species in plus human being? When we awaken to that wisdom, we are free. We are going deeper. A couple of more points to understand. Transportation. My both the feet. How can I increase the speed? Maybe a horse. You see how our intellect developed. After horse, then we have bicycle. Bicycle, then we have train, car, plane, satellite. Do you see that? It's very important to know that point in a different context. Yes, I know. Common transportation, just for example, satellite is the highest. Shape and the form is different. Plane, shape and the form is different. Car, shape and the form is different. Train, bicycle, horse, bullock cart. You have a very higher speed of the satellite. You have a much higher speed in the plane as compared to the bicycle because what happened? Shape and the size has changed, the form has changed. A human being's shape and the size as compared to the rest of the animals, we have a vertical spine. We have to have, we must become a human being using the intellect and higher level of self awareness. We can take control of the elephant, whale, shark. You know it. Eastern wisdom says, can I take over this body and the mind? Not the world outside. Leave it to the science. Let them control the natural phenomena and let them increase the pollution, etc., etc. They have done remarkable thing. They have done the worst thing. But here is the question: when I realize this shape and the shape and the form of the body of a human being can take stride, can evolve much faster, can reach to the existence, can find the real self. Unlike or not possible in animal shape and the form. They are made up of the same substance. Human being can use the intellect to discover the real self and can become totally free from and see the way the existence has evolved. We all are same. We are not comparing that we are more intelligent than animals. We all are made up of the same stuff in different proportion. But where the comparison, we all, our five sense organs are highly capable. Not all the animals have all the five sense organs are highly capable. Elephant, all prey by the sense of touch. Deer has a fragrance. An intellect can use these five sense organs, regulate it, and can discover the real self. So, did you understand the comparison? Life is present in all the animals. They have different shapes and the forms. Based on their shape and the form, their capacities are limited. Based on this human form, our capacities unlimited. I can know myself, I can know others, I can find my real self. How? Asato ma satgamaya. Moving from the false to the truth. Intellect. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Moving from not ignorance to knowledge. Tamaso mrityuramamritangamaya. Moving from mortality to immortality. Ask the animals, what is the goal of your life? Ask your dog, what is the goal of your life? Intellect helps us to know where the entire life is going, how it should go, in what direction it should move to reach to the ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal? To be happy, to be in peace all the time, to be in love all the time. No, animals know what is their goal of life. We can choose if the intellect is available, if we think. So the goal of our life, or you can say the ultimate goal of your life, is to discover the real self, which is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, wisdom. Example, take goal in my life is to continue with a sexual, use the four instincts: sexual pleasure, safety, food, and sleep. Or regulate all of them and aspire for something higher by understanding, by the knowledge. I can have the best food available every day. I am not free from the fear and the insecurities. I live owning an independent island, secure. Fear of the insecurity will continue to be there. I cannot have a luxury to sleep 24 hours. I wake up. And that will not help me solve my worries and the problems to live in permanent peace and happiness. Sex, security, food, and sleep. Common difference, intellect is available. I can use them. I should not be dictated by them. They live in the mind. We can only use them if the intellect is available. We understand these principles of Eastern wisdom. That is why, remember again, Asato ma Satgamaya, lead us from false to the truth. Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya, moving from ignorance to wisdom. Tamasoma Jyotir. I said Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Moving from ignorance to wisdom. Mrityorama Amritangamaya. Moving from mortality to immortality. We have to think. We have to think. So if you think during the day, 20, and allow the intellect to be available, many wrong notions will be dropped. We become a perfect seeker. Just think of another point. The first time we have our big, uh, a computer was created maybe 30, 40 years ago. It was a huge, almost like a small, like your restroom. And after a few years, we have a smaller desktop computer with more functionalities. Then the same computer is our tablet or laptop with more functions there. And then we have a hand phone, smartphone. That's why we say smartphone. With much more complex function in such a small size. Can we say that this mind in the computer started functioning with a higher, greater, powerful actions as the shape and the form has undergone a change? If the supercomputer is nothing but such a smartphone, why not in this human frame we evolved from all the animal species, from mammals like elephant, tiger, lion, we have reached to this human frame. Because inside we can work through the intellect to realize our real self, which is all pervading, which is all pervading, which is infinite peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. This week, every day, contemplate and think it over. Asato ma satgamaya. Lead us from false to the truth. Who will lead you existence? How? When I work, my existence works through my intellect, but let my intellect be available. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. I make my intellect available for the existence to work, to lead me from ignorance to wisdom. Mrityurama Amritangamaya. Let us make our intellect available, start thinking, contemplating, and reflecting so that the existence lead us from mortality, fear, insecurities to infinitude, peace, immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.